Greetings, shalom, shalom, salama, mambo, habari. Welcome to the channel. This is Wanda. This is Diaspora Connect. Thank you so much for tuning in. Decided to do a video today because it's been a couple of days since I did a video, and I guess it's that time. So just wanted to do a video and come to you and say greetings. Welcome to the channel. If for those who are new, welcome to the room. Welcome to the channel. My name is Wanda. This channel is called Diaspora Connect Tanzania. I am born and raised in America, left in 2020, relocated to Tanzania, and I've been here this year, July, to be 5 years. So yes, I have been living in the motherland for 5 years in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And so I share my journeys on this channel, my travel, my journey, my doing business, and just basically my life living in Africa, moving from America and living in Africa, and the pros and the cons and the good and the bad and the just everything about my life here in Africa. So I wanted to do this video today because I wanted to talk about the new executive order that everybody's talking about it, that Trump rolled back, which is segregation. So desegregation, he rolled back to segregation. So now it is lawful, it is legal to discriminate and to separate, basically. What this discriminate was the DEI, in hiring. And they're saying that the desegregation it only applies to federal contract workers or whatever, federal contractors, but it's going to affect everyone. It's going to be across the board. They're going to be able to segregate, white only. They used to have white in America, white water fountains, white only, and then colored water fountains. That's back during that time. They used to call us colored, the 50s and 60s. They used to call us colored. And so, and for my South African brothers and sisters, y'all know the colored and they used to actually call us colored too. So they give us all kind of names: African American, black, colored, Negro. I think we had that name. Yeah, we had that name already. But the other one, Nigger, which stemmed from, if you don't know, Niger, the country of Niger, and they just added a G to that. So it's two G's instead of Niger for Niger. They put an extra G in there, and that's a derogatory name towards us. But well, they mean it to be derogatory towards us, but they're actually telling us who we are and where we come from. The continent, basically. So when they say the N word or the N word, they're actually telling us where we come from, because that root word of that is it's Niger, the country of Niger in Africa. So yeah, they just call us that, and we look at it as an insult, which they mean it in a insulting way. But we know the truth about who we are. So for me, name calling is childish. Name calling, blah blah blah. That don't change nothing for me. But you do have to be careful and be mindful of what so words do. Words can hurt you. They can. So you just have to make sure you reverse and you pray and cover yourself with prayer. So these negative words and actions don't impact you in a negative way, don't hurt you, etc. So you are protected and covered under the Most High, of course, is what my spiritual practice is. So again, my name is Wanda. This channel is called Diaspora Connect, and I wanted to come to you and talk about two things that was on my mind: the desegregation that has been rolled back to segregation, which allows discrimination, which allows like separation of other nations and white people, basically. So it could be white only restaurants, right? White only places where, like Orania in South Africa, it's white, but white only. So it's rolling back to that, basically. And so I guess that's Trump's idea of making America great again, which apparently it is. So making America great again is basically making America white again. So, and for us as Black people, African Americans, Hebrews, Israelites, Bantu people, our lives were actually, we were closer during segregation, to be honest, During segregation in America, our families were together more. We were closer. We got along better. We worked better together. We had our own little, like, we did get the scraps, which they had better schools than ours, but we worked with what we had. We would work with what we had. Thus, we had our own teachers, doctors, hospitals. We had all of our own stuff. And so that's when they came, the white people burned it down. Whenever we would build something and have things together and do things as a nation of people, they would get jealous and come and destroy it and burn it down. So it wasn't enough to be segregated from them and separate, and they had the best. So separate does not necessarily mean equal, because we didn't get the best resources, but we worked with what we had, and we were surviving and we were thriving with the scraps basically that we were given. We made something out of nothing. It reminds me of the continental Africans on the continent, and I say specifically Tanzania and also Ghana, because I've been there. It's like they work with what they have. They may have a little, or they may not have a lot of money to build large, massive structures, but they work with the material that they have. So they might have to build a shack. They may have to build off of the dirt and the sticks and the mud or whatever. They use the resources that they have to build what they need. And the same thing happened with the African Americans or the Black Americans in America. We were kind of given scraps from the white people, but we work with what we have. Thus we created like what they call soul food. And it's almost like the scraps. It's like the scraps that we were given. We made a good taste, and we doctored it up. We made it taste actually good. Not that it's the best for you health wise, but it can be if you substitute the right ingredients, or if you use more fresh, vegetables and stuff, then it could be a healthy meal for you. But back then we were given scraps, so we had to make those scraps out of something. We had to make them taste good to our taste buds. We had to make them appealing, and so we did. So we just worked with whatever we had. So basically, they wanted to go back that way, which for us as Black people, it's fine. We can work with anything. We just like y'all on the continent. We just like continental Africans. Like we make something out of nothing. We can work with whatever we got. We got sticks. We got stones. We gonna figure something out. We gonna make what we need, and that's just how resourceful Africans are. That the African DNA, the blood in us, is just. We're intelligent, like we're resourceful. We can make something out of nothing. You take everything from us and we're going to figure something out. So that's just how we are. But anyway, Trump wants to roll back. Well, he's already done it. Roll back desegregation to segregation. So we'll be separate, separate maybe restrooms, or they saying it's only in federal contracts, but I think it's going to be in a lot of different places. They're just setting everything up. And so, like I said, for Black people, it's fine. It's time that we start working only with each other. It's time that we start living with each other, loving each other, working together, doing business together, as a nation of people, as Black people, as African Americans, as Hebrews, Bantus. We should, in the Western countries outside of Africa, we should all work together, because Africans on the continent, they do that already. Continental Africans, they work very well together. They live together, they eat together, they work together. And that's how we used to be, the Black Americans or the African Americans back in like the 50s and the 60s, before integration and before desegregation. We lived together, we ate together, we took care of each other. We lost that when all these laws came into place. And these laws actually pulled us apart and separated us. So if he want to roll it back, it's fine with us, because we need to be only dependent on each other. We need to be eating from each other's farms and gardens and food, and we should grow our own food. We should only be doing business with each other as far as clothes, hair, skin, everything about us. We should be only doing it with each other anyway. That's what the Bible had told us to do anyway. The children of Israel, we never mingle with other nations. We never lived among other nations in that manner. If we lived among among other nations, and I'm talking specifically about the biblical scriptures for the children of Israel. If the children of Israel, which is our ancestors, live with other nations, they would be separate. Like the other nations were their, maid servants or manservants or servants or whatever, but they followed the law, statutes, and commandments of our God, the Most High, the uncreated Creator, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Elohim of the universe. He is our portion. So everyone that came in to live amongst us had to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Yah. And so we kept it separate. We never really mingled. We did mingle with some nations, some other dark nations, like Mizraite, like Egyptians and just some other dark nations. So, but as far as with white people and all that, Esau and all that, no, we didn't intermarry with them. We didn't even live amongst them. So they worship different gods from us, and then they eat meat. They eat meat that we shouldn't eat. Like they eat raw meat. And we're not supposed to eat any. It's against the commandments. We're not supposed to eat blood. We're not supposed to eat any animals with blood in it. So it's a lot of things that we shouldn't do that we started doing because we started integrating with other nations. We started following their gods instead of having them, influencing them to follow our Creator, our Elohim, right? So it's like, I feel like our Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is turning the clock back. He's turning the clock back, and he's taking us back to where we were initially supposed to be, to begin with, separate from other nations. We're supposed to only live amongst ourselves. We're only supposed to marry one another. We were only supposed to eat after each other's food, not other nations that worship other gods. They worship, Buddha and Greek gods and what's his name, Zeus, and all these different Greek gods. We weren't supposed to be up under those gods, eating their food, marrying these people. We weren't supposed to do that. We're only supposed to marry people of our own tribe, right? And if we go outside of our specific tribes, it's within the 12 tribes, right? So that's what we were supposed to be doing. So it's almost like this desegregation is pushing us back towards one another, because during this time, you will see that those mixed couples, it's going to be a struggle for them in the era where he's rolling back desegregation to segregation. Where are these mixed couples and their kids going to fit in the scheme of this? And there are a lot of interracial relationships in America, because it's crazy, because they encourage that all on TV, every commercial, everywhere you go in America, they encourage mixing, right? So now he's turning it back to segregation. And so where would they fit in the scheme of things? Where would the children fit in? Most of the children will probably have to go to the black side, because it's just a rule. If you have 1%, any percent of black in you, or you even look black, then you're gonna have to pick. You're gonna have to go to the black side. And so, and one thing I can say about black people or African Americans in America is we are very accepting. We accept everybody and anybody. We are one of the only nations that are very accepting of other nations. We accept everybody. Everybody's, rejects. Every nation's rejects that they don't want, we accept. We just like that. I don't know why we do that. But anyway, we do. I do know why, because we are very compassionate. We're a loving people. So I do get that. But we have to keep it in perspective when it comes to the biblical scriptures, and then when it comes to how the Most High wants us to live our lives. But anyway, back to the segregation. So for me, it's cool. I know I'm in Africa, but I'm still speaking on my perspective of how we were better off when we were segregated. But they also would get jealous when we started working with the scraps that we were given and building, and we had our own, for example, Black Wall Street that was burned down. That was all black on that was just all of our stuff that we built, and we built, we had everything, and they burned it down because they were jealous. Every time we build something in America, every time we try to have something big and massive in America, the government and the people. So it ain't only the people. The government is the one that bombed our ancestors, our family in Tulsa, the government dropped a bomb on its own citizens. So we won't put it past that they changed, because when you have a bloodline that's wicked like that, it goes down from generation to generation. It does not disappear. It just hides itself, but it's cultural. They pass that evil down to each other. They pass it down to their children, because even in the pictures when they were like hanging us and burning us, all that, they were taking pictures like a trophy. You know how they take pictures when they kill the animals in Africa, when they come poaching, how they take pictures of the lions and all the dead animals. They did us the same way. They would hang us or kill us or burn us, and they would take pictures. And it would be so many little kids. If you see some of the pictures, it would be children smiling, taking pictures in front of our ancestors, on hanging from a tree, burned to a crisp, or just all cut up and tortured. They would take souvenirs of our fingers and ears and nose, and they would use our hair, our woolly hair, to stuff like pillows and stuff. Like, yeah, it was some treacherous, torturous stuff done to us, the same way that they do the animals when they come to Africa, when they kill them and poach them and all that. They did us the same way. So this is a cultural thing, and it's passed down from generation to generation. That's what they do. That's who they are, majority. So that being said, I want to talk about the farmer situation. All this is about the executive orders that Trump is pushing. All this is about what he's doing. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I'm still a U.S. citizen, even though I'm a foreigner over here in Tanzania. I'm still a U.S. citizen, and all this stuff is going to impact me or affect me. So I'm giving my point of view on it. Now, as far as the white farmers, Trump is saying that white farmers can come over, and he had the pathway, the citizenship for the white farmers, right? I don't have a problem with that. But can we make an even exchange? Can Ramaphosa make a negotiation with him and say, okay, you can take the white farmers and give us the black farmers. Let the black farmers from America come over to South Africa and let them farm over there, and let the white farmers come over to a U.S., because that's where they belong anyway, in Europe. And that's where the black farmers or the African farmers belong, in Africa, whether they know it or not, family, whether they think so, I'm not going to get into the foundational Black American thing and the ADOS and all that. I'm just typically saying, let's make an even exchange. For the farmers who want to leave, the farmers over in America, the black ones, they may want to go to South Africa. They may prefer to have a farm over there in South Africa. Let's make an even exchange. White South African farmers, they can leave and they can go to America and get citizenship, and then the black American farmers can leave and go to South Africa. And all we need, Ramaphosa, all we need, not that you won't see this video, but I'm still going to say, President Ramaphosa, all we need is 40 acres and a mule, which is a tractor. All we need is 40 acres of land. That's all we need, because we didn't get it, and we was promised that over here in America. So if you could negotiate with President Trump and say, okay, since you were supposed to give the black Americans, the African Americans, 40 acres and a mule, since you don't want to do that and you want to do the farm thing, send your black farmers over here to South Africa. We will give them 40 acres and a mule, and for exchange of the white farmers in South Africa, you send them over there, because he's giving them land for them to farm over there. And I'm sure he's giving them for more than 40 acres. So that's just my opinion. That's just something that would be outstanding. That's an awesome negotiation. So shout out to President Ramaphosa. That would be a good negotiation. You can talk for us. You can stand up for us, and you can present that to President Trump. He don't like us anyway, so he probably be like, yeah, take them. We don't need them. All you got to do is give us 40 acres and a mule, a tractor. We're going to make it happen. And actually, you probably don't even have to give us a tractor. We can go in and buy our own tractor. But I'm just saying that's what the U.S. promised us. They didn't give it to us, and they don't plan on it, but not that we won't get it. Eventually, the father can work something out, just like he's doing now. But I think that would be an awesome negotiation. South Africa, if you are a South African and you watch my channel, put that in your circles. Tell your people. Let them know that, that's a good negotiation. Their farmers for our farmers. can't beat that. That's a win-win situation. We can really build up Africa then. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's any country. That's any African country out of the 54. If you watch this video or anything, and if hey, negotiate. We got farmers. We can come over to the continent. It's land over here. Give us some acreage. We can put a farm on that thing. We can do commercial farming. I think that'll be a good negotiation. So shout out to the African presidents. We got some skills and resources over there in America. The Black Americans do, the African Americans do, with some farmers over there. They didn't even get the resources that the white ones got, and the white ones are already complaining because the migrants left. The migrants were working for them. They were working the white farms, and see, the white farmers they lazy. They don't work like the black ones in America. The black ones didn't get the resources, so they had to work their own. They got their own people. They got to do their own thing. So we used to working hard. Our farmers used to working with what they got. So imagine us coming over here, getting some land, and we can cultivate it. I think that's an outstanding idea. And so I wanted to do this video because I want to shout out and say, shout to the rooftop. Y'all, let's spread this word. Let's do an even exchange. Let's negotiate. Black farmers for South African farmers. Let's switch. But let's build up the African countries. Let's build up the African continent together. Blacks, Africans together. And so, yeah. And, I'm not going to get into like the foundational Black Americans point of view because they have a different point of view, because I'm ADOS, African descendant of slaves. My ancestors were taken from the continent somewhere. So, yeah. And even if I didn't do DNA, which I didn't because I don't really trust DNA, I know they were taken from somewhere over here. So a lot of times your spirit will resonate with you. Like the Most High is going to eventually, he's going to pull it all together. He's going to reveal to us where our true home is. No, we per se don't know exactly where we come from, but guess who knows? The one who created it all. Guess who knows? The one who created everything and us too. Our Father, he knows. And he will lead us to the right place where we are supposed to be in his timing. And if you didn't know, and you're wondering, why don't Black Americans, African Americans know where they come from? They don't know where they come from. The reason that we don't know where we come from, and this is for continental Africans, the reason that a lot of us don't know where we come from is because we were punished, right? We were punished and we were disassociated or disavowed from our true home because of sin, because of sin against the one who created us. That's why we don't know. So if you notice, we're the only ones dispersed throughout the four corners of the earth. We're the only ones that don't know. Out of all the Black diaspora, we don't know where we come from, right? So, well, one of the main ones that don't know. Specifically, I'm talking about America. We don't know where we come from because we were punished. That's why. And it's foretold in the Bible. And if you can actually Google it and look up. I don't know if you can find it that way, but part of the curse, it's the curses in Deuteronomy. The curses in the book of Deuteronomy in the biblical scriptures, it tells that the children of Israel would be subjected to these specific curses if they didn't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments that are in the Bible that the Most High told us to follow. But if we did follow the law, statutes, and commandments, the blessings would apply to us. So you have the blessings on one side and the curses. The curses are a lot longer than the blessings, right? But because the children of Israel did not obey the law, statutes, and commandments of the Elohim, the uncreated creator, then they fell under the curses part. And if you read the curses, it will say that we would forget who we are, where we come from, our calendar, that we will forget everything about our heritage, which is why a lot of us don't know originally where we come from. Even with DNA, that's good to a point, but the uncreated creator, the one who created us, is the one that knows who we are and where we come from. And he will direct us by his spirit back to the original place that we derive from, or where we come from in Africa. So, and that's just my take on it. I feel like it's in Africa. And even if it's the Middle East, that's Northeast Africa. The Middle East was created by man. That name was created by man, but that's really Northeast Africa. But I do believe, and I feel like the land that we originated from was in sub-Saharan Africa somewhere, in the most fertile, the richest, most fertile part, like where we got, you know, minerals under the ground. Those are the most fertile, richest parts. So there's no other place like the continent of Africa, the motherland. So thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to do this video and talk about those things that were on my heart: the desegregation, back to segregation, the white farmers, black farmers, and my point of view on all of it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully this video will educate you, it will inspire you, and it will encourage you to know that keep looking up, Black Americans, Black people, African Americans. Keep looking up, because our redemption draws nigh. I'll see you guys in the next video.